We've been calling people, and we've talked to one guy that's a varmint guy.
He gave us a number, but we haven't done that yet.
But we haven't got that far. But it's just something that's just getting worse. But yesterday, Carolyn had an air horn, and she came out here, and
Somebody
there
up
was
the street had an air gun.
Yeah.
And pow, and they came flying this way, and they
And
lit
those-
in these trees. And when Kathy came out with the pan and the spoon,
got them out of that tree.
and got them out of that tree. I mean, there were at least.
She said it was probably at least 400.
It was because I tried to count, and then you finally start just counting by 5s and 10s. it was just too many.
But now, have you been out here when they were sitting up here on the hospital on the
So this is not the first day
antenna?
you've been here. Oh, okay. Well, then you've seen what we've seen.
So we go to church right there. So we get a good dose of them. And everybody's kind of getting,
The neighborhood's tired of it.
yeah.
Very tired of it. I know the dentist down here has called the city and made some calls.
And there's just not a whole lot you can do about it. You just kind of have to,
Unless we
grin
can
and bear it.
somehow get some dead carcasses to,
Well,
dummy
we're not going
carcasses.
to do that.
Not real ones, dummy carcasses.
Well, that wouldn't work.
Well, that other town got rid of them that way.
We did.
Yeah.
So, well, Mr. Mayor, tell me about the buzzards.
Had some complaints from some neighbors to the place, some citizens, and they said, what can be done about them? And I said, they're buzzards. And so I asked somebody, I said, well, what can we do about the buzzards? I said, well, I believe they're vultures now. So it's the old hospital, which is now no longer being used, is where it was.
Is it a big problem?
According to the neighbors, it is. I guess it is. It has to be, because they're roosting over there at night.
What's been their, have they called, do they call you? What's been your
I've
experience?
had some people come by, and I've had some calls, and what I've done is I've turned it over to the city manager. That's why he's hired.
We received some concerns, complaints about it, and we explored the issue to see to what extent we might be able to play a role in the satisfaction of this issue. Everyone agreed that it was a good thing to do, and we had a mechanism by which we could do it, and we just took the opportunity to be the point of the spearhead. We didn't hear many complaints, or any complaints really, for the first number of months. Their presence was somewhat conspicuous, but it wasn't intrusive. I've seen them, and other folks on staff had seen them as well. They would make comments, have you seen the birds over at the hospital? That's pretty eerie looking.
It's eerie. Because we came out here one night about a month ago, was it? It was about dusk.
With the right lighting, maybe as dusk begins to enter into the picture, then it has something of a Hitchcock feel to it.
And they were in all the trees, and it was like,
Yeah, it was weird.
it's like, is this like the birds? Because they were all, they look eerie looking, just the way they look.
Especially since they're roosting on essentially a vacant, abandoned, large structure, which is the hospital. It's just a perfect backdrop for some, creepy images.
And
Well,
that's-
this
to
is
me,
definitely their roosting place.
that's just real
Because it's
interesting to me.
vacant, for one thing, and it's a huge
Nobody bothers them.
facility. Nobody's gonna
Now that
bother
we've
them.
started bothering them because they've started bothering us.
Several months ago, I noticed that there was a whole lot of them, and they all seemed to be looking this way. And they were all over the place. These great big birds. So you're asking what feelings the sight of several vultures staring at the church, how that makes me feel? Originally, I thought they were probably Methodists. I didn't really have any actual feelings about it. I just thought they needed a place to be. And I was happy they had a place where they could be. They weren't hurting anybody. The outcome between the buzzards and the community here in Siler City, I'd like to see a peaceful resolution to that.
They're protected.
We can't.
You can't shoot. We can't come out here and shoot. Oh, good God, how long would it take to shoot all of them? Even if you were a good shot. And then we're in the city limit. So, I mean, you know, we're stuck.
I don't think they're bad. I just don't want them in my neighborhood, at my house.
Whenever we first started exploring this situation, we knew that in the eastern part of the county, in the Pittsburgh area, if I'm not mistaken, they had a similar issue not too long ago. So I made a call over to the other part of the county to find out, well, what exactly, you know, was done on their part, if anything, to resolve that issue. At the end of that conversation by the person I was talking to was that when we do resolve this, let's make sure we get them flying further west and not back to the east. They didn't want them back.
I do it in the car.
Yeah, that's good.
Let me roll the window down.
See, they're up in that tree right there, that pine tree. You can't see them. I see them. I mean, there's not a bunch of them, but there's some up there. You see them?
Yeah, I see
See
them.
them?
Right up there.
There's a bunch of them up there. Oh, yeah. Out the window, please.
Do you want me to blow it?
I do.
Neighbors tell me they've seen hundreds of vultures swarming along Peach Street in Shelby. I saw dozens hovering over homes, scaring pets, and making people nervous. And they'll start breeding.
Oh my goodness. I'm not happy to hear that.
We are seeing more vultures, specifically in North Carolina, but all throughout the United States. They were actually in decline in the 70s, similar to the reasons bald eagles were in decline in a lot of our bigger raptors and predators because of DDT and lots of different pesticides. It was thinning eggshells and making them crack. Since we've banned that, they've actually improved. They're very ecologically important in our system, in the food chain, in everything we do. They help the DOT by taking apart all these animals that are left on the side of the road to decompose. They are going to eat the animals that nobody else will touch. All our predators are not going to eat dead things that have been decomposing for a few days. They are very adapted to living in urban settings and will often roost on cell towers where people can see them. Vultures could be benefiting from human development. And yes, definitely their prey on the side of the road has increased as we have more cars on the road and we are building more roads in general. That wildlife is encountering cars at a much higher rate than they used to. So they're having to rely less on natural habitat and relying more on urban habitat. And they're one of the species that is starting to thrive in urban settings. There's few of them, but there are the ones that are able to thrive on urban settings are doing fairly well.
So we conferred with the mayor and members of the board to move forward. We got confirmation on that notion and had a personal contact with Wildlife Services who walked us through what was to transpire and what our responsibilities would be and what the expectations should be. I think that was probably 3 weeks ago.
So what I would do is I would go around, look at the area, try to find anything that's attracting them, try to identify the roost locations, and then that would give me an idea of where it would be best to place that effigy. My name is Andy Moore. I'm with the United States Department of Agriculture Wildlife Services Program. I am a wildlife biologist, and our agency is here to provide assistance to the public in managing human-wildlife conflict. So we received a number of initial calls regarding the damage that was being caused by these vultures. We determined it was best to try to work with the city and see if we could move the entire flock out of the community. And we do that typically through the use of what we call an effigy. It's a bird that has been taken to a wildlife rehabilitator and didn't make it through rehabilitation. It is euthanized by the rehabilitator, and then we recover those birds to use as an effigy. And what that is it's a bird that's suspended upside down, and that's in a very awkward manner to what most vultures are used to, and they don't like it. They're not very comfortable with it. This particular structure worked out to be a pretty good place to hang one. The goal is that bird hanging upside down can disperse that flock to a new area where hopefully they can live and be happy, and the damage will be resolved here locally.
Is it upside down hanging? Wings out? Yeah, that's what they were showing. That's crazy. I am glad that the USDA hung an effigy or a dead vulture instead of just getting a permit to shoot them, because I'm sure they are capable of getting that permit to shoot them. But yeah, I think it's great that they're trying that.
Well, the hanging vulture, the way I understand it, those are vultures that die of natural causes, and they're kept in a vault in Raleigh. Anyway, this vulture from Raleigh, he's hanging up there now, and it may be that they were probably sitting up there thinking, he's either dead or really, really quiet, but he's not from around here, from Raleigh. So I would think that they weren't really mourners at all. I think they were trying to figure out how that fit in with their life there, And they probably, I would guess, they might have taken it as a warning. That would be the simplest thing.
I'm seeing on the antenna on top of the hospital, they've hung this dead carcass. And when I first got home from work, there were no buzzards to be seen anywhere. And then 2 hours later, I'm out here looking at the vultures sitting on the antenna just above the carcass hanging there. So who knows if that's going to work. And they're not just a nuisance to me and my home with the bird poop all over the cars and the driveway and everywhere, but there's businesses in this area that they've got to contend with these guys walking on their roofs, and I don't know. I don't like it. But at the same time, isn't it nature? Isn't it natural?
Sure.
Dedicated. So, and yours is there somewhere, Susan?
Yeah, right there.
Right there, yeah. See there? Is that right?
Alright, so they're just doing B-roll footage for one of the films. It's the one about the birds, so it's really exciting.
About our horn.
I know.